you are always communicating something with your body language. The question is, do you know what you're communicating? And do you know how to read what other people are communicating? And the answer is, not very often. So let's begin. Your body language is made up of your gestures, your posture, your tone of voice, and your facial expressions. Now, for those of you who are like, how is tone of voice part of body language? Just wait. I'll get there. It's very exciting stuff. So, we start with the basics. Positive versus negative. Positive body language. You're happy. You're enjoying things. Life is good. So, relaxed posture. Not like total slumping, but, you know, comfortable. Direct eye contact. Smiling, nodding, leaning into a conversation. All of these things show that you're happy, or at least not angry. Negative body language, on the other hand, involves a lot of tension. Like when you see tension in people's shoulders and they're all clenched up, that's never a good sign. Fidgeting. Fidgeting, like we talked about with stage fright, tends to show nervousness. Now, some people are natural fidgeters. I am a natural fidgeter. But when people get nervous, they tend to fidget a lot more, and the fidgeting gets smaller. Arms folded. So yeah, some people do this when they're cold, but if they do this and there's tension in the shoulders, it's usually a bad, bad sign. Frowning, that's an obvious one. Furrowed brow and flared nostrils, which it's hard to demo the nostrils, but that unibrow action right there, never a good sign. Yeah, check that ridge right there. So, reading the positive versus the negative is the first step to understanding other people's body language. And think about what message they're sending. So this is the point normally where I would tell you to like look around and see what other people are doing. But everybody starts to get really self-conscious about their body language during this. So just note that that happens. Now everybody fake smiles occasionally. That's like that's working in retail or customer service of some sort. You have to have that fake smile. But can you tell the difference between real smiles and fake smiles? It's all in the eyes. So real smiles have these tiny little crinkles at the side of your eyes. And the reason for that is because you're using your whole face to smile when you're really smiling. You're using all of those muscles in your face. Whereas fake smiles are very forced and stiff, and they kind of have that bared teeth look to them. So it's just like pulling back the sides of your mouth and not actually opening your face and smiling. So be on the lookout. And especially when wearing masks, it's almost easier to tell real smiles versus fake smiles because, you know, it's all about the eyes. If we have to keep wearing masks into next semester, I'm going to add an entire slide about reading people's eyes more effectively. Because there is definitely an art to it. Sociologists have studied cultures around the world and determined that there are 7 universal facial expressions. No matter where you go in the world, these 7 facial expressions are the same, which is kind of cool. So culture changes, language changes, but facial expressions stay the same. It's neat. It's like a unifying human experience. So, the first one is joy. How do you express joy on your face? You what? By smiling.
Which is next to impossible.
To smile?
With this thing on.
Oh, you can smile. I'm doing it right now.
I can't tell.
Sure you can. There are crinkles next to my eyes.
I'm wearing glasses.
I know, the glasses are tricky, right? It's okay. Also, they give you a weird reflection. It's okay. So, the first one is joy. So what do you notice about his face? What's he doing with his face that expresses joy? Like, what are the signals?
Smiling,
Okay, so he's smiling, his mouth's turned up. What else?
He's got crinkles.
He's got the crinkles. What else?
He just looks happy.
He just looks happy. That's just it, is because it's this universally recognized thing, like we don't stop to process what about it makes us recognize it.
Why does he look so happy, but it also looks like he's taking a mugshot?
Well, yeah, so all of these pictures kind of look mugshotty because they were done to demonstrate these 7 facial expressions. So they're a little fake because that's sort of how these things go. But, so he's got the smile, he's got the crinkles, his cheeks go up. And he's got a relaxed forehead. All right, sad. What makes a sad face?
Eyebrows are kind of like up in a way.
Okay. So we've got some eyebrow action. You've got some bottom lip action. Yeah. All right. Yeah, they do look a little mugshotty. It's okay. So what's she got going on here?
Everything.
Yeah. So she's got the eyebrows come together a little bit, but not like angry. We'll get to that.
Her face just looks down.
Yeah, the face just sort of turns down. So whereas before the cheeks were up, look at those cheekbones. Now it's just kind of down. Angry face. What makes an angry face?
Eyebrows come
Nostrils
together.
are flared.
Eyebrows come together. What you got?
Flared your nostrils.
Ah, yeah, the flared nostrils. Yeah. I know, right? But she absolutely has the forehead thing. Very tense mouth going on there. The pursed lips. Again, like, it's done for, you know. All right, next up, fear. What's a fear face?
That's
right.
Eyes widen.
Wide eyes. What else?
Eyebrows go up.
The eyebrows go up. Oh, you guys are good. Look at that. I know. But it's also, so the eyebrows go up and it pulls back.
Yeah.
I like your neck.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got like that tense neck thing going on. I don't know why that's the reaction. I think it's clenching your jaw is what makes your neck so tense. Disgust. What's disgust face?
It's kind of hard to describe.
This face. You're correct. Disgust.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so it's kind of got this sneer going on. Again, the flared nostrils. Yeah. Not necessarily the same eyebrow action and forehead action as anger, though. Interesting. Contempt. You guys know what contempt is?
No.
Like you're holding back.
Contempt is when you think you're better than somebody.
Oh.
So basically, loveness.
Head up. Oh. Never mind.
It's that one emoji.
It is that one emoji.
His eyebrows go like this, and then his mouth goes like this. He looks like the one, I don't know, the sign, like the greater than sign.
Okay, so I hadn't seen that until now, but you are correct. Interesting. He's got some angles going on there. I like that. Now, I've had somebody answer before, like, I used to flip it around and do the picture first, and then they'd have to name what it was supposed to be, what expression. And somebody said flirting once, and I'm like, no! If that's somebody's flirting face, get out! That's no good. That's contempt.
Yeah.
You're reading it all wrong, man. All right, last but not least, surprise.
Oh no.
What's surprise face?
Eyes also widen.
I
Yes.
just know the picture. They're
Oh,
really
so
terrible.
Of course it is.
No.
Surprise!
That is
He's cross-eyed.
That doesn't look like
He's
anything I expect from
surprising.
surprise.
It's hard to fake surprise.
It's really not.
Surprise and fear are very similar in the eyes. but there's more tension in the face here than here.
You look like he just farted, but not a fart.
He was surprised that jumped out there, huh?
Yeah.
And you'll have that, I mean. All right, so no matter where you go in the world, these are the universally recognized facial expressions. Tone of voice. A lot of times people don't realize that tone of voice is part of your nonverbal communication because it's how you say something, not what you're saying. So tone of voice is known as your paralanguage, which is a good term to know. Like in the future, somebody can say something and be like, well, I do not appreciate your paralanguage there. Yeah, just work that one into conversations. I got all kinds of words you can just kind of work into conversations. But it includes your pitch, your volume, and your tone, and it's how we express emotion. So emojis were invented to replace paralanguage. Because when you text, you have no paralanguage, you have no tone of voice, and that's why they invented emojis. But to practice our paralanguage, I want you to all say the word "oh," but mean "you surprised me." Ready?
Oh.
Let's try that again. Oh, but mean "you surprised me."
Oh.
Oh, it's good. It's got a little spike to it. All right. Oh, you're a pain.
Ow.
No, not I'm in pain. You're a pain.
Oh.
Oh, I get it.
Oh.
Everybody knows that one. Oh, I don't get it.
Oh.
Huh?
Oh.
Oh, I'm bored.
Oh.
There you go.
Hey.
Cool.
It's all about your paralanguage. It's how you say what you say. It's like talking to dogs, because dogs don't understand language. Dogs understand paralanguage. Your dog doesn't know the words coming out of your mouth. They just appreciate the tone.
I tried that.
You tried that?
Yeah.
How did it work?
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, you're like, you dumb dog. I hate you so
My
much.
brother
And they're like,
tried that, and the dog was just confused.
the dog is just confused. Like, wait a
Yeah.
minute. I'm on to you.
But don't they understand some words like sit?
Yeah, so like there are certain patterns that they recognize, but more than, it's like not the word itself as much as the inflection to it, the paralanguage. Now, my sister has a friend who taught her dog Russian. And so then they like tried to test this out on the dog in Russian versus English, and it was like a whole thing. Because the inflection's all different. And so they only respond to certain terms. It used to be that I would do a little demonstration, but it does not allow for proper social distancing. So, alas, we'll just have to talk about it. Proxemics is the study of personal space. That's another good word to like just throw into conversation every now and again. Yeah. Proxemics, like proximity, the study of personal space. So we all have a personal space bubble that, thanks to social distancing, has gotten a lot larger lately. As I look around the room and y'all are spaced out like this. See, this is the problem, is we're going to get used to this, all this extra space. And then someday, hopefully, we go back to everybody being in class at the same time and you'll just feel very constrained. So we have zones of personal space. So 18 inches is not very far. And we generally don't like to let people within that 18 inches of us unless we are, close personal friends. Up close and personal friends. So generally, like, that's just really close unless they have a really good reason to be there. So that is the intimate zone, less than 18 inches. The personal zone is 1.5 to 4 feet. So that's more than 18 inches up to, there's 4. So, there. So this is about, the width of a lunch table. You're sitting across from somebody at the lunch table, that's most of your friends. We keep in that range. Well, pre-social distancing. Now, the social zone is more than 4 feet up to 12 feet. And so that is, well, these days, for the sake of knowing. There's our 6 foot mark, so lay that right there. So this is where we're supposed to be at all times, right? How good are we at this 6 foot thing?
Not so much.
Not so much. However, have you noticed that when you do go out places that you're giving more space than you used to?
Yeah.
Like at the grocery store. Oh, at the grocery store. Like it's like you wait to go down an aisle until it clears out a little bit. Just give everybody a little more space. Except in the produce section. I don't know. Everybody's on top of each other in the produce section. I don't know why they can't leave space there. The rest of the store, they're fine. But you fight some people for some apples. I don't know. So, that's that 4 foot up to 10, 11, 12, right there. Okay, so like 12 foot would be the extreme end of something. But like, if you're in a store and a clerk is asking you if you need help for something, you're probably in that 4 to 12 foot range. Like this is about, you know, hey, can I help you find that pair of shoes? Well, sure, thanks. That's about the right range for that. And then the public zone is 12 feet. Now hold on to that for just another minute. You're doing such a wonderful job. Again, we're back at 12 there. 12 foot is the public zone. And so that is like strangers. So like if you're walking down the street and it's not crowded, you're like walking down the sidewalk, and somebody's within 12 feet of you, you're like, why are you following me, weirdo? They're not necessarily, but we don't want people to be within that 12 foot of us if we don't know them and they have no reason to be there and it's not crowded or anything like that. So when it comes to our personal space and our personal space bubbles, we also do some things to help establish our space. We create our bubble. We have what we call territorial markers. So territorial markers are personal belongings that we set out to establish that space. And it's funny once you start paying attention to how everyone sort of creates their space, especially in classrooms. Now it's a little bit different because you are all mandated to be spread out a little more. But traditionally, the way that you put your bag on the table, the way that you change your chair position, the way that you just sort of adjust your things to claim your space. And it's funny because for years I didn't do seating charts, but people would come and sit in the exact same place every single time. And then they'd get mad if somebody sat in their chair and they'd be like, they're in my chair. You're like, it's not your chair. You just sit there. It's your habit seat. It's not your assigned seat. But people get into these habits of establishing their space that they own. But these distances are very American. So when you travel to different parts of the world, the personal space customs change. And so parts of the world that have very small personal space bubbles. The Middle East, Latin America, Italy, and Greece have very small personal space bubbles. People can walk down the street arm in arm. It's not a big thing. They're just, you know, friends or whatever. Like, that's just how it works. And often greeting is with a hug. It's very close. The middle range, it's got a little more space to it. France, China, India. So you might get like the kiss on each cheek. You've got a little more space there, but not too much.
Shouldn't the kiss be close up?
You would think, but no. Because it is still establishing a little bit of distance versus a hug, which is all in. Like the kiss is just sort of like a lean. It's not a full body thing. Which is weird to think about, but again, it's not a romantic connotation. That's a whole different lesson. Now we'll get into flirting in a couple of slides here, but just right. And then distanced, huge personal space bubbles. Just stay out of my way. Japan, the US, UK, and Australia. So the traditional greeting is, of course, the handshake. So here is my space, and there is your space. We will cross planes briefly, and then take it back. Japan, of course, the traditional greeting in Japan is the bow, zero contact. And Japan even has this really very intricate custom of like when you meet business associates, you have to very formally present your business card to them. Like there's a whole process. So you have to take your business card with 2 hands and present it to the other person who will then accept it, and then you do a bow. And if you don't do it right, you have totally like insulted them and it's a whole thing. So don't do that. But in the US, we have perfected the ultimate in distance greeting, the SUP, the 20-foot greeting. 0 contact, you don't even have to slow down, just and on your way. So, when traveling to different parts of the world, do not cause international incidences. Learn about where you're going before you go. Lie detecting, because nobody wants to be lied to. So learn to look for liars. How many of you had a hard time telling the truth in that 2 truths and a lie thing? Yeah?
I had a hard time finding a lie.
Oh, like to tell?
Yeah.
Oh. But it's so easy to come up with like ridiculous things. You just have to make the truthful ones as ridiculous as the lies. I mean, I can make outrageous claims all day long. Do you know that I was a bronze medalist in the bobsled team?
No, in 2004.
Yeah.
Was that you?
That was.
That was true?
Really?
Generally speaking, when it comes to lie detecting, you want to look for extremes in body language and behavior. So if you know what somebody's baseline is, it's easier to tell if they're lying because they go one way or the other. So people tend to either know that their body language gives them away and therefore are in very tight control of it, or they have no clue and they're all over the place. One or the other. So the first one is eye contact. So it's either staring or the inability to hold eye contact. So some people do the staring, like, I'm not lying. See, I wouldn't lie to you and look at you in the eye. Only liars look away. I'm not a liar. Their pants are on fire. Or they're like afraid that you're going to look into their soul. And they're like, what? I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't at that party. Face touching. So liars tend to like touch their face a lot, try and cover up the lie. Like who? What? I don't know. Like they can't tell I'm lying. Stiff posture because they know that their body language gives them away, and so like they're in very tight control. So it's like that robotic. If suddenly they're much taller than normal, they might be lying to you. Fake smiling, again, look for the crinkles in the eye. Gestures and words don't match because they're overthinking it. So if it's like a badly dubbed movie, like, no, I did not go to that party. Why would you ask that? And lack of contractions or repetition of the question. They're stalling for time. Because they're trying to think of the next lie. Creating physical barriers, so putting something between you and them, like a bag or a chair, as if that extra distance is going to like absorb the lie. And then the classic subject avoidance. What do you mean did I go to that party? Did you see the game last night? So, if there's a liar in your life, be on the lookout. And if you're a liar, quit it or get better at it. So here's the thing about flirting. Here are some disclaimers on this. Not all of these are true. I'm not trying to call anybody out. I am going to make fun of freshmen, but you were all freshmen once, and you were all ridiculous. I know. I cut through the cafeteria a lot. I have seen it. When you are young and just learning how to flirt, you're really bad at it. And again, this is a general you. This is not like you particular. It's an open-handed you. Everyone's bad at flirting when they first start out. That's why middle school is so darn awkward. No one knows what they're doing. Theoretically, as you get older and more experienced in flirting, you're better at it, theoretically. But there are some common traits and behaviors that are worth noting. So, guys, girls are sending you signals that they think you understand. Ladies, they don't. Guys, not every girl is sending you signals. That's a disclaimer I've had to add later in, because I used to have somebody in iPass who would like run out the door after every girl, and I'd be like, dude, what makes you think she's into you? She just walked past the door. Just leave her be.
She giggled.
Yeah, no. It is not a singular thing. You want to look for combined efforts, okay? All right. So, again, just starting out, everyone's bad at flirting, and that's okay. So it begins with guys, it's that inability to hold eye contact. It's like so you want to go to the movies? And also the hands in pockets. So then you get like the middle school penguin boys. Like, so do you want to go to the movies? They don't know what to do with their hands, so they just... also guys, here. And quit the staring thing, it's just creeping the girls out, okay? Girls tend to do the eyes down and back up. They put a lot of money into eye makeup. They want you to pay attention to it. It's why those lashes are so long. So it's a lot of, it's down and up and... Girls also tend to do grooming gestures, so drawing your look into the hair, the face, fix the outfit, drawing you in. The grooming gestures are always a good giveaway. Guys do the deeper voice because they're afraid of it cracking, so, you know, cut them some slack. Pretend you didn't hear it if you hear it. Girls lean in. So girls have this ability to like pop a hip out of place. It seems really weird, but it's true. And so in a group setting, look at who she's leaning towards, because that's who she's interested in. Also, it's important to note, girls travel in packs. Didn't know if you were aware of this. If you are being checked out by a pack of girls, and they do that whole thing, okay, so now you look, don't all look at once. If you are being checked out by a pack of girls, the one who doesn't look is the one who's actually interested. She is seeking the approval of the pack. You're welcome. Okay, so when I say hitting, I don't mean like hit it, like no. But it's that coming into contact, it's that messing around, I'm gonna mess with you. The swatting, slapping goes with that too. Which then leads to the stealing of personal items, which is the, I have your cell phone, come chase me, I love you. Oh, you see that one in the cafeteria all the time. Because, you know, they want to do like the little... And the giggling. Guys, you're not that funny. So if she's laughing at you, that's a good sign. Sorry. If she's giggling, it's a good sign. If she's like pointing and laughing at you, that's a bad sign. But if it's that like that heady, like, ah, that's really fake, that's a good sign. You're not funny. But she wants you to think you are, and that's nice. It's ego saving right there. So there you go. Questions, comments, concerns?